Hi, my name is Gerhard Gschwandtner. Welcome to Selling Power TV. Today we have the great pleasure of meeting with Jeff Blunt. He's the author of a wonderful new book called Sales EQ. Welcome, Jeff.
Thanks, Gerhard. So nice to be here with you.
You're smiling, and obviously you're communicating positive emotions. How important are emotions in sales?
Emotions are everything in sales. If you think about selling, the buyer is coming in with emotion, you have emotion, and it's your ability to influence those emotions across or along the sales process that matters most. And there's a lot of data out there that tells us that as much as 50% of a buyer's decision to purchase from you is based on their emotions, how they feel about you and going through the sales process. So emotions are a critical piece of selling as much as they're a critical piece of life.
This is really the first book in sales where you help salespeople create optimal psychological functioning.
One of the things that we do in Sales EQ is we teach salespeople these mechanisms to either tell them, it's like a thermometer that tells them, hey, your emotions are out of control and you're not making good decisions because you're making emotional decisions, or mechanisms that allow the salesperson in the context of their emotions running wild to sort of rise above those emotions and be able to experience them, but also manage their relationship without being caught up in the emotions and allowing the emotions to sort of, control where they go.
And here's the conflict that salespeople need to understand. There is the prefrontal cortex and there's the amygdala. The prefrontal cortex is like the inner CEO that allows people to look at a situation objectively and creatively. And the amygdala is attack, is reaction. The prefrontal cortex is responding. So that's what Zig Ziglar meant there's a difference between reacting to a situation and responding to a situation. And once you understand that conflict in your mind, you can calm yourself down and take a deep breath before you act.
I say it's even deeper than that because, in the moment, right? In the moment when your amygdala kicks on. So let's say you get rejected or you ask for a next step and the person says no, all those feelings that happen inside your stomach, your heart racing, blood rushes out of your prefrontal cortex into your muscles. So it's hard to think. There's a lot of things that are happening all at the same time. And one of the mechanisms you have to have is the ability to turn that off temporarily. For example, one of the things that salespeople need to recognize, and we call this murder boarding. So we're walking into a deal. We've sat down and we've played through every possible scenario that might happen when we ask for something that we might want. Because we played through those scenarios, we know all the options. Or one of the problems salespeople have is they ask a lot of closed-ended questions. They do that because of the illusion of control that asking a closed-ended question gives them. However, if you practice asking open-ended questions and then thinking about every possible response, which usually there aren't that many, and then practice responding to those, that creates a natural ledge that allows your neocortex, your prefrontal cortex, to simply take over, turn off all of the noise, and be able to respond appropriately. And nobody teaches that in a sales training room ever.
I think we're living in an age where there's so much technology that accelerates everything. So we need to accelerate our psychological responses and our ability to sort of make the inner CEO the captain of the ship, if you will.
We basically break sales EQ into four basic categories. One is empathy. And to me, empathy is the meta skill of the 21st century because of everything that you said about technology. There's self-awareness, and self-awareness is the absolute truth. If you have self-awareness, then empathy is possible. Self-control, which we just talked about, and sales drive. And sales drive is something specific to salespeople, but self-awareness, you just talked about, is the being able to calm your mind, being able to sit down. One of the researchers that I quote in the book is a Harvard researcher who had spent some time talking about that and learning about this concept of being able to take some time away and just be quiet and use that time to become aware of what you feel and what you think and who you are. If you don't take time to be careful, you won't know which of the weeds in your own life you need to pay attention to and pick out. And to me, that is self-awareness, and it is the ability to calm your mind.
Jeb, let's talk about the role of the sales manager when it comes to sales EQ. Is there a metric that you can share on how to measure the emotional intelligence of your salespeople?
There are a number of assessments, and at SalesEQ, at salesgravy.com/SalesEQ, we'll have some of those assessment tools that you can pull. There are some composite assessments that are around emotional intelligence that you can pull. The best composite that I have around measuring sales EQ is a composite of a general emotional intelligence test, an empathy test, and there's a scale of empathy, and a test or assessment that we highly recommend called Sales Drive, and we do Sales Drive as just pure, I guess, what do you call it, disclosure.
To what degree can sales managers teach salespeople to become emotionally more savvy?
So engagement is something that we can't measure. I mean, I guess we could probably create a scale. But engagement is, are you looking at me? If I ask questions, are you opening up? I mean, are you willing to be a part of the process? Am I getting something from you and me that's connecting? Sometimes salespeople can't see that, right? They don't know. They get caught up in the moment, and we all do. There's a reason why great golfers, the best golfers in the world, have a coach, because the coach can see what they can't see. So what the sales manager can do in those moments from a coaching standpoint is start asking really good questions that provoke the salesperson to begin thinking about the relationship and again become aware. Because I think emotional control and awareness is something that has to happen inside the salesperson, not something that I talk at the salesperson about. The book is already available on Amazon.com. It's already available on Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, 1-800-CEO. Barnes & Noble is going to get the books before anyone else. And my suggestion is go to the store, tell them you want it. They'll have it for you. They'll hold it for you, and you'll have it on day one before anybody else does. And you can also go to salesgravy.com/SalesEQ to get more information.